All right, welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Hidden Gems. This is the video series where I talk about those books that are still probably tucked away in those back issue bins, in those boxes. These aren't wall books, these are kind of forgotten about, undervalued, underappreciated, and sometimes underpriced books that you might not be aware might be worth a couple of dollars. And I don't know, I'm going back to the old school method with a few different categories for you this week. We'll bring back a last to know and maybe an interlocking cover lover again, maybe even an homage special coming up in the weeks ahead. Again, I'm mixing up all the different flavors of this show as we move forward because I still have plenty of books to talk about and I got a lot of different directions to take this thing. So, for this week, we are going back to the regular fare of, I think I got 4 categories for you. So hopefully you enjoy that. And hopefully you're enjoying everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We are getting ever so close to 2,600 subs. We will be hitting 3K soon enough. And with that, we'll do another big giveaway. So if you want to see what books I want to talk about this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. Okay, so as I said, we're going to get back into the regular categories. So, first up, we are going to talk about some later prints. These are some, actually, I'm going to focus in only on second prints this week, but we're going to look at some second prints hitting up those lenticular covers. I don't know if you remember all the homage variants that Marvel did just a couple of years ago now for basically all of their titles. They had lenticular covers where they're morphing in new cover art with OG Marvel cover art. And the second prints for most of those books are pretty tough to find, and all of them feature that new art, so you don't have to worry about that lenticular extra bit. We are going to start off with Guardians because I enjoyed the Guardians movie. Saw it last week. I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I recommend you go see it if you haven't seen it already. But that's where we're going to start off here with. Oh, see, it's already blurring because I can't tell. I think this is Guardians of the Galaxy 146. But as you can see here, this is the lenticular kind of half morphed between the Guardians cover as well as Infinity Gauntlet #1, which I'm sure you can see just by looking at it there. So underneath the lenticular, and if you take the morphing bit aside, you see the new art, which is this cover. You got Gamora, you got all the crew there. Pretty cool. Like I said, I'm a fan of these. I'm a fan of this title. I like homage variants, however you want to call them. And I think this is a pretty good one. So this one actually does okay, as most of these ones I'm going to share with you today. I'm not going to cover all of them. Again, there's like 30 of these things at least. We're going to cover like 5 or 6 maybe for this little section. But first up, this second print. So $3.99 cover. What does this thing sell for? Granted, I did not find a lot of sales because, again, these are kind of forgotten about, ignored, undervalued, underappreciated, like I said in the open. So 2 bids to get it to $9.28 seems like a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Don't put books like these up for auction because you are just not going to get a return on your investment if you are a seller. Because, like I said, no one's looking for this right now. This isn't a book people are searching for. So you throwing it up at auction, you generally won't have many people fighting over this book because it's not something on a lot of people's minds. It's going to be found by like 1 or 2 people, and they're going to give you the bare minimum because, hey, as a buyer, aren't you going to give the least you could give? And if you don't have any competition, there's a good chance you might win it with just 1 bid. Anyway, let's look at the asking prices. Now, when you look at the asking prices, you can see why $9.28 actually is a solid deal because all the other asking prices for all buy it nows with best offers are all $22, $25, $40. So getting it for under $10 because that at auction is a bit of a discount. But if you can find this in a shop, again, you might be able to get yourself, 20 to $40. It depends. You got to be patient. You might have to sit and wait for a little bit, but it's still kind of a fun book to go and hunt and go dig out of those boxes if you can. Moving on with this idea and this topic, sticking with these lenticulars, we did have Falcon. So Falcon 1 also had a lenticular cover. This is the second print, which is just this, the new cover art, but the lenticular was a morph between this and Invincible Iron Man 71, as you can see there. Pretty cool, little matchup. But the second print on its own, I couldn't find any recent sales, so we'll look at what the asking prices are. Just like the other book, they're not too bad. While you can find some cheap ones out there for like $6, a lot of the other ones are $20, $30, $40. So pricing can be a little bit inconsistent with this particular one, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep an eye out for it in case you can go find it out of a box. Plus, we're getting Falcon back. We're actually going to get a new Falcon because this Falcon, Sam Wilson is going to be our Captain America in Captain America 4, and we're going to get Joaquin Torres as our new Falcon. So, Falcon's going to get a little bit of a higher profile coming up. So you might want to pay attention to his books now if you can go dig this out for cheap. Got another one for you. Here's another little second print. Uncanny Avengers number 28. Throwback to a classic Avengers title here, also with the Scarlet Witch on the front. That was the Dark Scarlet Witch at the time. This is 187 for Avengers on this Uncanny Avengers, with the new cover. Once again, not a lot of sales for this. I found one which was only a 9.8 and it sold for $135. So that's also not too bad. If you can find a really nice copy out of a back issue box and it only costs you like $5 or even $10 and you send it off to get graded and you can get $135, that's not a bad return. That's not a bad return at all. That said, asking prices for this one, a little, spread out again. $10, $30, $20. So 10 to 30. It seems to be the going rate for a lot of these second prints. So keep that in mind as well. Some on the lower end, and then there are a little bit of a higher ask in some other cases. Now, the next book I was reminded about by doing some of those Daredevil books. Where did I do Daredevil on? I did Daredevil in Dollar Bin Digging, I think. We were talking a little bit about the Kingpin. But so Daredevil 595 had a lenticular cover, and it had this underneath. So this is the second print cover. So this is the new art, which is an homage to Uncanny X-Men 135. So Dark Phoenix, pretty cool. I like it when the characters interact with the trade dress. Personally, I think it's a nice touch. I like it when they do it. Thankfully, they don't overdo it. But when they do, I generally like to grab those covers if I can. Again, that's just a personal thing. I just like it. How much does this go for? Well, I only found one sale because, like I said, a lot of these don't sell very frequently because they're kind of forgotten about, like I said. So $20 still not too bad though. $20 for an actual sale way back in March. So that was a while ago, but that's all I could find. As far as asking prices go, well, 20, 26, up to $40. So once again, 20 to 40. This one's on a little bit of the higher end, kind of like the Guardians, as opposed to the others, which were more the 10 to 30. I think I still got two more for you, though. Like I said, there's a bunch of these. I'm not doing all of them. I just picked a handful that kind of jumped out at me, and I just grabbed them at random. So we can get back to this and take a look at some of the other ones another time, maybe somewhere down the line. But for now, here are the next two and the last two for this segment. Invincible Iron Man 593. It probably looks familiar because this is a classic showdown cover for Iron Man with Iron Man 150 with, Doom and Tony Stark there. Granted, on the newer version, that's when we had, the Invincible Iron Man where Doom was like an Iron Man there for a minute and we had everything all kind of redone and, Riri was going in and taking like the suit and whatnot. So interesting, different little dichotomy, I guess. But pretty cool cover. And again, the morphs on the original, the lenticular morphs from one to the other. But I actually prefer just the second print plain cover art if I could get it. With that, one of these sold for only $10. So not a lot, but that's the only one sale that I could find. And the asking prices are again in that kind of $20 to $30 kind of range for the raws. And then there is another 9.8. Well, 9.8 for this one that's looking for about 115. So once again, if you could find one for cheap, it might be worth your time to grade it if it's in good shape. If you think it's got a shot at a 9.8, it might be worth your time to go and sub one. Just saying. Okay, one more before we move on out of this later print segment. Last one, Captain America 695, Alex Ross. Pretty cool art. I know this looks familiar to you. You're like, why does this look familiar? Is this another Cap cover? No, it's actually another Iron Man cover. This is the cover to Iron Man 126, where you got him getting all suited up, almost like Commando style. Remember the end of Commando where Arnold was taken to the beach and was about to, go through like 150 people or whatever it was? That's what this reminds me of. So I kind of like this one. But reminding you once again, there is the first print, which is the lenticular, which kind of morphs the two. I just want to show you this so you can kind of see, there's a little bit, you can see kind of like the two kind of blending just a tiny bit together there. So that's what the lenticular does. Like it does a little change between one or the other. But as I mentioned, I kind of prefer just the second print covers because I like that art. Couldn't find any recent sales for this one, but I did find these asks, which range anywhere from $10 to 25 to 30, 35. So once again, 10 to 40, pretty wide, pretty wide range there as well. And with no copies sold, who knows where the actual market kind of is right now. But if these start moving, we'll see. Those cheap ones will clear out quickly, and then all the rest are in that $20 to $30 range anyway. So doesn't hurt to go and dig these out of a box if you can find them. So that's why I'm reminding you of these things. All right. So with that, we will move on to our next segment, and our next segment is going to be variants. Okay, so for variants, I'm also kind of sticking with a little bit of a theme, whereas the theme on those second prints were those lenticulars that had second prints. The theme I'm going in with this week's variants are going to be those 1 in 10 Kirby monster variants. With this, I'm not doing like chasing ghosts. I generally try to keep these on the lower end if I'm doing ratios. And with the ratio we're doing here, as I said, we're doing these Kirby monster variants because I still see these out there every once in a while. And a couple of them are worth a couple of bucks. Not all of them are. So just be mindful when you're out there digging if you come across them. First one up, also kind of sticking with that Guardians fresh on the mind because it's still raining at the box office, I believe, right now. So Guardians. This is Groot 5. This is where I think we actually in the guts of the book is where we got first baby Groot. So this book spiked for a little bit, but this is the 1 in 10, which I think is a pretty cool, little bit of a Drax there, and it's kind of doesn't look like a monster cover. It looks more like he's special forces coming in through the water going to attack somebody. But this is the 1 in 10 for Groot 5. Considered the monster cover, the Kirby monster covers. No copies had sold, and that's going to be the theme for these 1 in 10s. I was looking, I was searching and searching, couldn't find any sales. So I didn't really look hard, but I couldn't find any sales. So I don't believe any of these have sales, if my memory's serving. I put this deck together earlier today. I believe most of these don't have sales. So we're just going to look at the asking prices for these 1 in 10 Kirby monster books. And for this particular one, for Groot 5, it's about $10. You can see the $9, $9.25, $17.99. So 10 to 20 bucks for 1 in 10. It's not terrible. So if you can find it, again, I'm not telling you to go pay these prices. I'm telling you to go see if you can find it for cheaper and digging it out of a box. Maybe you find it for cover price or even less if you're lucky. But just want to let you know what the asking prices are. If in case you come across one of these, you know what it is and you know what it goes for. Up next, Spider-Gwen. I remember grabbing this one off of the wall just because it was different. And I was like, what is this? And when the Spider-Gwen 1 came out, I remember actually grabbing this Francavilla cover because one, it's Francavilla and I kind of liked it, but it was just so different and odd. I was like, you know what? I'm grabbing this one. And it was just for cover price at the shop that I was at. So Spider-Gwen 1 in 10. Once again, no sales to report for the last 3 months on this. Asking prices as cheap as $5.99 and goes up to maybe $10. So this one is definitely on the cheaper side for one reason or another. But I still think it's kind of cool. And if you like monsters and if you like these monster covers, these are fun thing to collect that you can collect for cheap, as you can see by even these prices here. But once again, go digging at your shops. I'm not telling you go online shopping. I'm telling you go support your LCS, support the stores near you, and see what they got. That's why I do this. See what the stores got when you go out there digging. Up next, I got 2 more. I think I only did 4 of these. We do have Contest of Champions number 1. And I think this is the first appearance of White Fox inside of this. So this one also kind of does okay. And considering this is a 1 in 10 incentive, it could do all right or ask for a little bit more. Once again, I'm not sharing any sales because I couldn't really find any easily. So we're going to go right into the asks, which for this one, as cheap as $9, 15 goes up to like 30, as you can see there. Once again, a lot of these will list it with the Kirby monster cover. Some of them will list it as first White Fox, as you can see that one there. For what that's worth, who knows if we're going to get anything further from White Fox, but something to keep an eye out for. Plus, like I said, it's just a pretty cool, monster cover, if you ask me. But, just a fun little thing to collect. One more. Howling Commandos. So, Howling Commandos of S.H.I.E.L.D., number 1, also had a 1 in 10 monster cover. Pretty cool, right? I think this is a Del Mundo too. So kind of like this. It's got that classic monster Kirby monster vibe. It's just kind of fun. Once again, not sharing any sales on these, just going right into the asks because that's mostly what we see. And for this one's a little bit more expensive than the rest. This one is by and large 20 to 30 in most cases, as you can see by these 4 examples at least. And there's more than this. This is just what I grabbed as a quick little chunk when I did some eBay research. So 20 to 30 bucks for this one seems to be consistent. So if you can find this one, there you go. All right, where are we at now? That's 2 segments down. I think I got 2 more. Again, it's going to be kind of a quick show. I'm going to try to make these shows just a little bit shorter just to to kind of save some time for me, I realized not too long ago that I was basically doing 7 shows a week, including 7 shorts a week. So that's a lot of content. So just got to try to dial it back just a tiny bit, not give you less shows, just maybe shorten up some of the time so I can get this stuff done a little easier. That said, let's get on to the movie portion of the segment here. So, movie adaptations is our next segment of some books that I just want to share with you. We do know that we are getting a new and another Indiana Jones movie at the end of the month. No, end of June, right? Yeah, it's end of June. So right before the 4th of July weekend, we're getting Indy 5. I was not a fan of Indy 4, but I am a big fan of the first three, including The Last Crusade. I know a lot of people say, oh, those indie movies aren't that good. What is he? He doesn't accomplish anything, but I still like him. I still like him. I still enjoy him. And I particularly like The Last Crusade. Something about the dynamic with Sean Connery. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So, with that said, keep an eye out for the comic adaptation. There's 4 comics. It's a 4-issue mini. This is issue 1. You can see at the top it says issue 1 in a 4-issue limited series. This is the first cover, and you can see it's got the little throwback there, the not Joaquin, the River Phoenix part. Yeah, why I say Joaquin? The River Phoenix part where River was playing young Indy and he cut his chin, all that. And then you get the other 3 issues. Again, following the storyline. This is adapting the movie. So you got the Tombstone Richard, you got his Lucky Lighter, his Zippo, and then you got the big fight there at the end. With I thought I lost you, boy. Just great stuff. And these do all right if you can find them. Surprisingly, these Indiana Jones comics do all right if you can go dig them out of a box. Just as some example sales here, we have issues 1 and 2 sold for $20. Then we have looks like just a random issue 3 sold for almost $20, and then all 4 issue full set, $71 for the whole set is what sold. That sale kind of seemed odd to me because there are some listed that are cheaper than that. So maybe there was like a best offer accepted that I'm missing, and I didn't go dig far enough. But by and large, this is what you're looking at here as far as pricing goes, as what's sold recently. Available again, you can also ballpark see the numbers here. Issue 1 anywhere of $10 to like $15. Some of the other issues could hit up to like 20 raw, individuals, and then you can see sets. Again, there's a set for 70, but I did see some sets for a little bit cheaper than that too. But I just wanted to give you some ballpark figures so you can get an idea if you can find these out there in a shop, which you might have found for yourself. So there you go. Keep an eye out for that Last Crusade 4-issue limited series because it can get you a couple of bucks if you can find it for cheap. Up next, we are going to another movie franchise that will be hitting us up with another movie, this time in August, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know the movie coming in August is going to be animated. It's Seth Rogen. It's a reboot. We've seen the Turtles rebooted out how many times now? But if we go back to those original movies, Turtles 3 had a 1-issue adaptation out of Archie. This is when Turtles went back in time. So this is the movie, Turtles went back in time. I don't know this one as well as the others because Turtles was a little bit after my wheelhouse as far as my age goes. I remember seeing the first one, Ninja Rap, second one. Yeah. By the time the third one hit, this was more my little brother's thing. So I don't really remember Turtles in Time all that well. But I do know there is a movie adaptation comic book out there. And there's actually 2 versions of it. We're going to stick with this one first, the Archie Adventure series. And I'll show you what the pricing is on these. Here's a couple of random examples of sales. $8, 15, almost up to $20 for this particular version of the book, this one shot. Asking prices about 10 to 20 here, as you can see those as well. And it's only a one shot adaptation, so there's only one to find, not a whole set. But there is another version of this, which is the prestige format. So this is going to have that thicker cardstock cover, and it actually has some Kevin Eastman art, I believe, on it. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So you got the Kevin Eastman art on the prestige format. So, $5 cover price on this one. Whereas the other one was, let me go back. I'm just kind of curious. $250. So look, it was only $250 for this one, and then you double the price to get this prestige format to get that nicer paper stock and cover. That said, pricing was surprisingly consistent between the two, so it doesn't matter which one you find. If anything, this might even go for a little bit less. Look, the prestige format sold for $15 or $14.50, and then asking prices $12, $10, and yes, there is one for 50, but hey, you could still get this around $10, just like you can the other one. So, hey, either or, whichever one you find, it's just worth knowing. Again, if you find this like $1 box or something like that, I'm not telling you go and get paying $10 to $15 for this online. I'm just saying, just know what this book is and know what its worth is. So in case you find it out there, whether it be $1 or $2, if you want to buy it, you can buy it. Now you know what it's worth. You know, that's why I try to give you this market information, just to give you a sense of what you're buying, so you can make an informed decision for yourself. You know, that said, I got one more segment, and we're gonna hit up with some video games. So give me a second to take a sip. Got my drink going here. And let's see what we got for video games. With the success of Mario, I'm telling you, we're going to see more of this stuff. I hope we get a Link movie, a Zelda movie of some kind, maybe well done down the line. That would be really cool. But another option that Nintendo might roll with following up Mario is Metroid. Metroid's a pretty popular game. Goes all the way back. Female protagonist. It's something I can see them adapting pretty soon. That was a big shock reveal for me as a kid. You remember that? You found out at the end of Metroid that, oh my God, it's a girl. Samus is a girl. Like, that was craziness. You want to know what else is craziness? These manga. No, these are going to be a little difficult for you to find, but I just wanted to tell you about it so you're aware of it. You never know the odd things you might find out there when you're shopping. You hit up flea markets, you go to used bookstores. Who knows? But if you could find these mangas out there. Again, I know it's Japanese, so maybe our buddy, nobody that draws out there in Japan might have better luck finding this. And if you do, let us know. But Metroid has these two issue sets for this manga, and these things sell. I was not aware of this till I just did a little bit of research. Check these prices out. And these are like those little digest books. So, they're going to be like a little smaller than a comic, a little bit thicker too. It's going to be like a little trade paperback almost. Usually they'll cost you like $10 or something like that. Maybe less, maybe more like $7.99, depending, where you buy them and all that. But these particular ones here, plenty of sales. This is all out there. You can find it for yourself. Plenty of sales. And you can see this sells for $500 for the set. And well, there was one random individual for number 2 sold for $42, but you saw sets for $538. Best offer on $520. Those are just some example sales. And I know you're like, that's kind of crazy. Those are outliers. Not really. If you look at the asking prices, $498, $600, $586.64, and then individually there's that issue 2 again, $208 all by itself. So these are not cheap. These are not cheap. So if you can somehow find them, luck into them, it is just something I didn't know about them. So I'm just sharing it with you guys. I found out about this while I was doing the research on Metroid, and I was like, what are these? Again, the chances of finding these are probably going to be slim to none, but it's good information to have in your back pocket just in case. Just in case you come across it. So this way you know what you're looking at. What you're looking at is money. That said, you might not find these because, again, these are Japanese mangas, so going to be tough for you to find. But something you may be able to find flipping through in those like old magazines and boxes, because there's not a lot of comics. I could have gotten into the comics. We could have gotten to those Nintendo comics, but I feel like I've been overdone and talked about those enough. So we're trying to take a different angle with this. So considering we started off here with the mangas, I figured let's keep it going on a weird tilt, and let's go with the comics that were actually in those Nintendo powers. So if you could find some of these old Nintendo powers, there are some comic books inside. Metroid in particular, Super Metroid, following Super Metroid, had a little 5-issue arc of a little comic that was taking place in Nintendo Power 57 through 61. I'm not showing you all the covers, I'm just showing these 2 as examples, and I'll show you what these things could sell for. So 57 to 61 is the 5-issue arc for the little comic they had for Super Metroid. And here's an example of what the comic looks like inside. Because again, it is like a comic. It's inside a magazine, inside a video game magazine for sure, but it still reads like a comic. That said, here's the Nintendo Power 57, that first Bugs issue. Look, it's sell for like $20. And then we got a couple of issues there, a lot of 3. I think it's 57, 58, 59, sold for about $50. So not too bad there for those sales. Asking prices, again, anywhere 15 to 25 for these individually. Just kind of ballpark numbers in case you find some of these old Nintendo powers. And of course, you'll get a little bit more if they still have like their posters and things like that intact. If they were polybagged, they have extra stuff, which we'll get into more in the later run of Nintendo Power, which is what we're actually going to tap into next, because this was Super Metroid back in the day, Super Nintendo. 100 issues later. This is 57 through 61. Years later, 100 issues later of Nintendo Power, we have this. So in issues 164, 165, and 166, once again, I'm just showing you the two. I probably could have showed you all three, but there are three little comics inside of this run of Nintendo Power covering Metroid Prime, which was, I think, the GameCube version of Metroid. So upgraded new systems and all that fun stuff. But inside here, we again, I'll show you some of the interior. You have the guts. You have a comic book inside this magazine. So it still is a comic story just inside a magazine. But Metroid Prime, was also done by Pat Lee and Dreamwave, which is also interesting. You know, remember he had the Transformers run for a while, did Warlands and a few things like that. But so Dreamwave, kind of miss Dreamwave. That said, what do these sell for? These sell for a little bit cheaper. You can see issues of these could sell for as cheap as like $10, $6, or as high as like $56, $55. So it is still kind of wild and crazy as far as pricing goes. Some of those lists, like the $55 one down there at the bottom, says it's listed with the CD and calendar inside. So this had to have had a poly bag probably, or some inserts that people are looking for and will pay a premium if those discs and calendar, I guess, are still inside. So just something to keep in mind. Oh, and that top one, the $56, that's actually for 3 issues. So keep that, and actually more than 3 issues. That's a lot of 7, but it includes the 3 issues that have the story inside of it. That's why I included it. But let's go on to the asking prices. Very curious on the market. There are a few looking for like $9, $15, up to $25 just for the issue 1. Granted, they're all promoting it as the Lord of the Rings because that's what's on the cover. But like I said, inside the guts of this magazine, there is a Metroid comic book. Runs for those 3 issues. So just a fun little thing for you to go and keep an eye out for if you find yourself in front of some Nintendo Powers in an old magazine box or something like that. Doesn't hurt to have information, right? And with that said, that's all I got for you this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you find this helpful. Hopefully you find this information useful. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know if you find any of these in the weeks ahead. I love it when you guys watch the video and say, I didn't know about these books and now I bought one. Feel free, please tag me. Just send me a direct message. I don't care. I love hearing those stories because I'm like you. I'm also out there digging. I'm also out there trying to collect. And I like seeing other people's successes because it gives me hope that while I like looking at a bunch of this stuff, I don't own all of this stuff. I'm out there hunting just like most of you. So with that all said, hope you're having fun with the channel. Hope you're enjoying all the content. I'm still having a whole lot of fun doing it. And with that said, I will see you guys later. And yeah, got to go work on chasing ghosts next. All right, bye.